Hello! Today I am making avocado toast. It sounds simple because it is simple. You'll notice I don't have a lot of ingredients on my cutting board today. I've got the requisite avocados, I've got 1 tomato, and I've got a lemon, and optionally you can have cheese. I am going for a honeyed goat cheese. The sharpness of that against the creaminess of the avocado really works for me. So let's put this together. We're gonna clear off our board of everything but the avocado. So we'll get our tomatoes out of the way and our cheese and our salt. This is a masher. This happens to be an XO product. It's very easy to use, and I use that just so that we can get a nice smoother texture out of the avocados. So I was recently asked, how do I know when an avocado is ready? A friend of mine used to say the uglier the avocado, the better it is. And there is some truth to that. You do not want one that's green. But between these two, when I press on them, the one on the left is slightly firmer. So I don't think that one's quite ready. And this one is actually rather soft. It has a lot of give. So I check my avocados when I buy them that they have a little bit of give in case I'm not going to use them that same day so they don't over ripen. And these 3 seem to be okay, but I always get an extra one. And I do that on purpose because I never know what I'm going to get when I open this up. So the easiest way I found to open up the avocado, let's just make sure our board is clear here, is being that it's a round item, you want to lay it flat, okay? You want to use a sharp knife. If your knife isn't very sharp, you can put the point in and you're going to hit the pit. So all I'm doing now is angling my knife in and I'm turning the avocado. So I stay on the same plane and I meet with my initial cut right at the beginning again. So now I'm going to twist this hand this way and this hand the other way, and boom, I can open that avocado. So you can see this part here is not so great, so we're not going to use that little bit of it. I'm going to close it up to keep this from getting oxidized and turning brown, and I'm going to open up the rest of them. Same thing. Again, if you're not comfortable, just put your knife in. You're going to feel the pit. You saw the pit is very large. Keep your hand flat and just turn your knife and it'll come right back to the beginning where you started. So it's not really a trick. It's just a technique. This avocado looks way better, so we're definitely going to use this guy. And we'll continue and open up the rest of these. Again, pushing in, pulling my knife around. This one's a bit firmer than the last one I just did. And then twist. Okay, that looks beautiful too. So again, we'll close that up. And our last one, until we hit the pit, and then just rotate around till we get back to the beginning. All right, and so I'm gonna just put that in our compost bucket. I didn't cut that all the way through. There we go. So you can see this one is also on its way out. So I always buy an extra one, and in this case, it's definitely paying off that I have more than one. So we're going to now take the pits out of these guys. And that, you can use two different ways to do this. I'll do it with the last one I just did. So the first thing I typically do is I get the flesh out of the ones that I'm going to keep. You do that with a spoon. And I'm going to take some of this flesh and keep it. Actually, it's not looking so great. So we're going to pass on this avocado, but we'll use it as a demonstration for our removing of the pit. Okay, you want to be very careful with this. This is very slippery. Now you could use your spoon and you can dig it out if you'd like. But you'll find that sometimes you'll lose too much flesh there. You can also make sure you have a good control. You're holding on to the avocado and you're holding onto your knife and you let your knife do the work for you. And then to get it off, I just move it off onto the side of my bowl. But since we're not using this particular one, I'm just gonna put it all in the compost holder. So let's check out this guy. We said this guy looks beauteous. Let's take out the flesh. You use your spoon right up against the edge. Scoop it out. And just make sure you didn't leave any of that goodness in there. A little bit right there. And we're gonna do that again. So like this one, we have some we can salvage, I believe, but not much. So I'm just gonna move this one off to the side as well. That's a shame. They felt like good candidates. So I ended up with 2 avocados. Like I said, it's a little bit of a risk sometimes. All right, so we get the rest out of this one. All that flesh. And now we're going to get the pits out. Again, I'm firmly holding this end. I'm not jabbing my knife in too hard, just enough, and I twist ever so slightly. Now, you could pull it off with your hand, but like I said, you take a risk right there that you might hurt yourself, so I just use the edge of the bowl and get it out. Twist, we'll use the edge of the container there. All right, so now we're just gonna get all the flesh out of this one. Get all of that goodness out. And make sure we don't get this little piece in there, that little stem. Start over here. And we got all of our avocado out. These are really good avocados, these 2. So good job, avocado. All right, so we've got that. Now what I'm going to do is take my lemon. I'm gonna roll my lemon just to break up some of the membrane in there. I'm gonna put my sieve over it. I'm probably gonna use about half the lemon juice because I'm not gonna have a lot of avocado at this point. As you saw, 50% of what I was gonna do is not usable. And I'm gonna use my reamer. If you have already lemon juice in a bottle, you can use that. You just wanna use the acid, but I use lemon for these toasts because I don't necessarily want avocado guacamole toast. I want avocado toast. All right, so there you go. So our reamer gets all that out. This goes in our compost, and all of the pits stay in here, all of the seeds. I use the back of my reamer just to get all the juice out. And again, put the rest of that inside of our compost container. All right, so now I've got my lemon juice, I've got my avocado. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. This is to taste. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt for the amount of avocado that I have. That's probably 1/4 teaspoon. It's not very much. And now I'm gonna use my masher. You could use a fork for this. It's perfectly fine. All right, and I'm just going to break it up. And by breaking it up, I'm also mixing it up a little bit. We just squish that down. And that's it. We don't do very much in that sense, okay? So we've got that done. And now I am ready to go ahead and toast my bread. You can use whatever bread you like. I happen to like large pieces of bread. And when I say large pieces of bread, I like a nice big piece, but you notice the structure on this, it's very firm, so that when I toast this guy up, he'll hold his shape. So let's put that in the toaster. And in the meantime, we're gonna get our cutting board. So for service, there we go. We put a little bit of the spoon on there. It's all good. Oh, sorry, I forgot my tomato. Look at me. So we're waiting for that. Let's get our tomato ready. I knew I was missing something. All right, so we're gonna take the blossom here out of the tomato. All right, I've shown you how to do that before. You see how that looks? I angle the knife in and cut around so it comes right out. Little pyramid. We're gonna cut this in half. Let's get that seed off of there. All right. Cut that in half. Look at how beautiful this tomato is. So pretty. And because this knife is not as sharp as it could be, I'm actually cutting my tomato upside down. And I'm just cutting it into small pieces so I can put on top of my toast. You want anything that you're using as a toast to be easily eaten. I can just pick it up as the person who's eating it without worrying. Actually, that's gonna be plenty. Without worrying about, you know, things falling apart on me. So we've got our spoon here for our cheese. And feel free to taste this as you go. You might find you want a little bit of pepper in this. I keep it very plain because I have the tomato, which has a strong tomato flavor this time of year. I've got a nice strong cheese, and I just want the flavors all to come together on this one item. So we're gonna get our cutting board ready here. Let's move our knife. Let's move this over. I'm just gonna put this here because that's what we're gonna use to serve. And if you want, you could put an extra squeeze of lemon on there if you'd like. So our bread is almost ready. And with this, you can serve it with, you know, as a breakfast item, as a lunch item. You can serve it as a dinner item with, and add any of these with a small side salad, or as I'm gonna happen to do today, with a little bit of French fries, because I want something hot to go along with it. Even though the toast will be hot, I want something else that's gonna be hot that goes along with it. But believe it or not, what I've done here with these 2 avocados is actually enough to serve 3 people easily. Okay, it depends on how much avocado you put on the toast, but it's definitely enough to serve it at least 3 pieces easily. So let's take a quick look. Yeah, these are toasted. This toaster does a great job getting things ready really quick. All right, so, ooh, very hot. Let's just turn that around. So I'm using the wood instead of putting this onto a plate because, as you know, whenever you toast something, it's still really hot. And if you put it on a plate, it's going to create condensation. So I happen to use this particular cutting board because it has the handle. And while I'm, you know, getting ready to do something else, I let it essentially cool off a bit, you know, so that when I do put it down, and you can see that it already left a bit of a mark, a moisture, it's not going to get soggy. If you put it on a plate, it's going to get soggy. So you want to wait a moment before you do that. So that's like 1 heaping, maybe 1.5 heaping tablespoons of avocado. And now look at how much is still in here. So it also depends on how big your bread is, how much you're going to put on there. So when I said serve 3 people, I mean with 1 piece of toast per person. It's more than generous how much we're going to put on here. So I'm going to put a few pieces of tomato. Maybe a few more than just a few, because I really do enjoy how this flavor comes together. Put a little bit of tomato here as well. And then optionally, like I said, optionally put on some cheese. I have this crumbled goat cheese it's honeyed goat cheese. You can top this with a little bit of balsamic glaze if you like that and you want to have a little bit of different flavor added to it. Or you could squeeze a little more lemon on there. So what we have here is avocado toast. It's delicious. I think you should try it. Tell me what you think about it. because that right there, that's delicious.